We have some great speakers with us today. Everybody please give a nice warm welcome to our first speaker. His name is Jay McMahon. He's running for Attorney General against Maura Healey.
Good morning. It's good to see all of you out here this morning. This is a Second Amendment rally. This is where we are thankful for our founding fathers to have made sure that we had the Second Amendment. We are here today, just like the rest of our brothers, our patriotic brothers across the nation, holding this rally because we hold this right sacred. This is a God-given right, and I'm going to explain that in just a moment. Today is a wake-up moment for Massachusetts and the rest of the nation. I want to just take, Jerry just mentioned a few moments ago about some great patriots that were right in this area, and here's one of the things that I want to talk about. We have, from July 4, 1776, the Declaration of Independence, and it goes like this. I'm just going to read a portion of it. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And to secure these rights, governments are instituted by men, deriving their power from the consent of the governed. Maura Healey, I do not consent to you infringing on my Second Amendment right. We are the governed, and we do not consent. We do not consent to the people in this building who have decided to infringe on our rights for political expediency. We don't. We are here today to celebrate the Second Amendment and to maintain the Second Amendment intact and uninfringed. Now, a lot of us don't know that there is a forerunner amendment, an article, if you will, in the Massachusetts State Constitution, but it's Article 17, and it goes like this. The people have a right to keep and bear arms for the common defense. For the common defense. In other words, Massachusetts Constitution recognizes you have a right to keep and bear arms. But they've gone and changed that and have reinterpreted it, clear language, but they've reinterpreted it to mean, well, that was before we had police departments. Now, how nutty is that? Only a liberal could think like that. We have a right to keep and bear arms on the state constitution for the common defense. That means your defense, your family's defense, your neighbor's defense. Somebody in the village and town is screaming help, you can be there with a loaded weapon. That's the purpose of that. Now that right was before the Second Amendment. Article 17 was in existence before the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution. However, in 1789, we have the Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now think about that right. It says the right shall not be infringed. It recognizes the right, it doesn't grant it. That right is one of those rights that were endowed to us by our Creator, such as the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Also, the right to keep and bear arms. Otherwise, the language would have said, we grant this right. It doesn't say they grant it. It recognizes and understands that that right is already amongst us. So we have that right. like to think of these Second Amendment rallies as wake-up calls, because they have to be. Every one of us has a wake-up call at some point. I think the one from Massachusetts was in July of 2016, when Maura Healey decided to sign an edict. It's an enforcement order, but it was more of an edict or a fiat by a tyrant. And basically she said that any owners of these so-called copycat assault weapons are going to be subject to a 10-year felony. Now think about it. No one up here voted for it. The governor didn't even know it was coming. She just signed off on that order and made law-abiding citizens felons. Now think about that. How can she get away with that? Well, she can't, because the governed are not going to grant their consent to that. We're going to show her in November 2018. We'll show her the door. We're not going to tolerate that. In July of 2016, she issued her enforcement order. She said her reason for doing that was because she wanted to get guns off the streets. Think about it. You can't have a gun in Massachusetts unless you have a license to carry. You want to talk about extreme vetting? Try to get one. When you finally do get it, you've got to answer so many certain personal questions and get a full examination of your life history. By the time you get one, you are as pure as the driven snow. And that's how these people are right here today. This is almost like a family gathering. I mean, let's face it, nobody here has committed a misdemeanor, or you're not going to get a license to carry. That's how it is in Massachusetts. And yet she says she's going to get guns off the street by affecting your guns. Your guns aren't on the street. You aren't even evil people, you're good people. And yet she is going to go after you. Now, why is she doing that? I am showing you that she is doing that for political expediency. She doesn't give a rat's ass about your rights. And that's the truth. She doesn't. I'll tell you how I can tell you how I can prove it. She issues this edict in July of 2016. And this edict makes law-abiding citizens felons. And she does it. And she uses the excuse of taking guns off the street. But that's not what she was doing. She was selling out your rights. She knew that in 1 week after she issued that edict, that she would be going to Cleveland to the Democratic National Convention and endorsing Hillary Clinton. And she was intending to bring with her her enforcement edict and vetting herself, because she had the bet that Hillary was going to be the next president, and she wanted to say, hey, here's my resume for being the U.S. Attorney General. I'm a gun grabber just like you, and I can prove it. And she did. She brought that edict with her. Lucky for us, Hillary lost the election. If she didn't, you'd say it'd be a whole different way. Maura Healey is a gun grabber. Liberals are gun grabbers. And listen, we know how liberals think. Times like Las Vegas, people say, oh, you can't talk about guns, look at the tragedy. Let me tell you something. The tragedy was committed by a deranged individual. This individual had the intent in his heart. He was evil. He was going to kill people. If they don't kill him with guns, they're going to kill him with knives, with hammers, with pressure cookers, and with fertilizer. They'll use whatever means at their disposal. So it's not the guns, it's the heart of the individual. That's what kills people. And if we have evil people walking and living amongst us, we need to be armed in the event that we at least have a fighting chance. Everyone here with a license to carry a firearm is a good person. because you have to go through extreme vetting. Now, I just want to say a few things about extreme vetting. Let's see if we can bring this thing to full circle. President Trump gets elected and gets inaugurated in January of 2017. One of the first things he does is institute a temporary travel ban on 6 Middle Eastern states, 6 Middle Eastern failed states. He does it because he says he wants to institute extreme vetting. If you want to know what extreme vetting is, apply for a license to carry in Massachusetts, you will go through extreme vetting. And so he wanted to just issue a temporary ban so that he can institute extreme vetting. Maura Healey ran to the federal district court in Boston and said that Trump's actions violated the civil rights of those foreign nationals. Now think about it. She's talking about civil rights, and she says that people in foreign states, foreign nationals, have a right to be here in Massachusetts. Now, any lawyer knows that's not the case at all. No foreign national has a right to be here. Only Americans, only American citizens have a right to be here in this country. But she goes into court and she says foreign nationals have a right to be here. Now, how is it she can find a civil rights for foreign nationals who are from 6 failed states? You can't get birth certificates from these people. There's no central government in those states. There's no records at all. And yet she says they have a civil right to be here. Now think about it. Who is she representing? They have a right to be here. There's no civil right to them. We have a right to keep and bear arms, and she's infringing. What kind of thinking is that? You've got to ask yourself, whose side is she on? Now listen, take her policies to their natural conclusion. People who Trump wants to vet extremely, because those people we know coming in from those 6 failed Middle Eastern states are elements of ISIS and Al-Qaeda intending to kill us. She would have them come into this nation unvetted, and then she would infringe on our Second Amendment rights and disarm the citizens of the Commonwealth and allow those people in here to kill us. What kind of thinking is that? That is left-wing lunacy to the extreme. What we are seeing right now in legislators across the nation, and legislation that's being filed, and also in Washington, we are seeing liberals at their best. Never forget their motto. We learned it from David Axelrod and from Rahm Emanuel. They have a motto. It says, never let a tragedy go to waste. They've been gun grabbers. They've been gun grabbers from the beginning. And they are trying to grab our guns. That's why I'm telling you, Patriots, do not give up an inch. When you hear some infringement by government officials and any politician, you fight it. You fight every inch. Do not give up. Do not give an inch. These politicians and government officials will take an oath of office, and their oath of office is to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the laws thereunder, and the Constitution of Massachusetts and the laws thereunder. As soon as they put their hand down, they got plans to grab your guns and violate your rights. Don't let them get away with it. Seriously, we have to draw the line, and the line is at the Second Amendment. We don't give an inch. Now, I know all about the nonsense about the slide stock. That's what it's called. The technical term is a slide stock, but we're calling it a bump stock. That's fine, a bump stock. My personal opinion is I don't like the bump stock, but I'm going to hold the line, and I will. I'm telling you right now, as soon as they start doing that, they're going to get away with it. They're going to infringe on that. The next item is right around the corner. They've got a list, and they're ready to go. Don't give an inch of your rights. The day you start giving an inch, you're not going to be able to say certain things. You're not going to be able to criticize. Like, look at, we got evil that walks among us. We got evil that does certain things with pressure cookers and with fertilizer and with all kinds of other items. And they have certain language. And next thing you know, you're going to be told you can't talk about it. In other words, see something, say nothing. That's what's coming down the line. The First Amendment is right behind the second. They're going to go to the second first, then they're going to take the first. And we're going to be left fighting in the streets. Let's not do that. Let's fight at the ballot box. Now listen, it's a dream if we think we can maintain the government we want. We have to work hard. We have to get activated. We have to work on candidates who are going to stand up for our rights. We have to work. We have to get behind those candidates. We have to walk the streets for them, and we have to ante up for their campaigns. Listen, you need it. Maura Healey already has several million ready to fight us. Going in. We have to support our candidates, and we got to come out strong. Now, one thing we do know in Massachusetts, we got over 1 million people that have licenses to carry. People, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. Next year will be too late. Wake up. Take your stand. I told you that I am running for Attorney General. My name is Jay McMahon. I have a website, www.attorneyjmcmahon.com. I have people here that you can sign up with if you want. Please, I'd appreciate it if you would sign up and get behind my candidacy. When I become Attorney General, I promise you, my client will be the United States Constitution. I will tell you emphatically right now on day one, just to send the message on day one, I will revoke that enforcement order, her edict, her fiat, Her Majesty's fiat. I will revoke it on day one that I'm sworn in. I will do it for you, and I will do it for me, because I am one of you. I have certain guns. I'm not going to say what they are because I don't want somebody knocking on my door. But I've got guns. I've got licenses to carry. I've got one in Massachusetts. I got one in New Hampshire, which, by the way, you don't need anymore. And I've got one, and I've got the Universal. I got Utah. Because you need it. Because there's gun grabbers and liberals all over the country. They are trying to ignore our Second Amendment rights. I'm telling you, our forefathers knew what they said, that this right shall not be infringed. But they're infringing. I will hold them accountable. I will represent you. I will represent the Constitution. Today is an important day, a Second Amendment rally day. I am proud to be here with you. And this is almost like a family reunion. It's good to be here with you people. I promise you this. You elect me as your Attorney General, and your rights and your guns are safe with me. Thank you.